Oh, good. Okay, great. All right. So
Yeah.
Kevin, why don't I turn it over to you and
Yeah,
um,
sorry everyone. Thanks for your patience. Little housekeeping that we had to do. But anyways, my name's Kevin Warren, and I am the owner and founder of Baja Air Ventures. And what you can look forward to is snorkeling with whale sharks. The season is coming up. It starts in August, and we run it through October. And we got a guest. Hopefully, Joanne's going to be able to call in. We're going to be able to talk to her, and also you're going to find out all about the trip, how we run the trip, what you can expect, see, and do, and also some great webinar-only deals that are at the end of the webinar. So you got to stay tuned till the end for some deals that are going to save you literally thousands. So anyways, I got started going to Baja. My parents took me there when I was 12 years old, and fell in love with it, caught a fish bigger than myself, and it just really ingrained in my memory the vistas and the desert where it meets the sea. And so when I became a teenager and I grew up surfing as well, the first thing I wanted to do was go down surfing to Baja. And I always loved aviation. I started hang gliding back in the 70s and built hang gliders and flew paragliders and all sorts of things. Have a love of aviation, have a love of adventure, a love of Baja, and I put them all together and started taking my buddies down there. And I would supply the gear, the equipment, and we started landing on the beaches down there and surfing perfect waves that we were finding. And friends started telling friends, and people started calling me that I didn't even know and said, hey, I heard about this trip. I want to go. And I thought, there's nobody doing anything like this. So I took out a loan and bought my first airplane in 1989 and never looked back. I'm married. I have three now teenage daughters. That's kind of an old picture. And live here in San Diego, and we've developed our Las Animas Wilderness Retreat, and go do the whale shark trip. So anyways,
Kevin, I want to interject something real quick. I apologize, folks. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand using the little control panel, and there's also a place in there to ask a question. I'm going to be in the background answering questions by typing, and then we will also unmute people as needed to, especially near the end. We have a lot of Q&A sessions set up for answering any questions that you want. So just wanted to uh, uh, mention that. I'm sorry, Kev. Go ahead.
okay. So anyways, our whale shark trips, they start in San Diego. It's an all-inclusive package. We fly from San Diego Brownfield. It's about 2-hour flight down to the Mid-Drift Island region on the Sea of Cortez. And you could go ahead and go to the next slide, Tim. And so you can see we start in San Diego, and we fly a little less than halfway down to an area known as the Mid-Drift Island region. It is a grouping of 21 islands. It is a World Heritage Site. It's a marine sanctuary. It's a protected wilderness preserve, and we're within all three of those areas. And this particular part of the Sea of Cortez has a lot of bays, and it's also the narrowest part of the Sea of Cortez, so we get a lot of tidal current. And there's a tremendous plankton bloom that happens in the summer, and that is what draws up the whale sharks, is the rich phytoplankton that blooms in the bays adjacent to our lodge. And it attracts whale sharks every year. It's one of the most consistent spots in the world for viewing and snorkeling with whale sharks. And it is also the closest spot to San Diego to snorkel with whale sharks. And I've had guests who've been over to Australia and in the Indian Ocean and had not snorkeled with whale sharks, and then they went on our trip and were able to snorkel with whale sharks. So anyways, the Mid-Drift Island region. You can go to the next slide, please. These are just some slides of the air transportation, the private round-trip air carriage that we offer is absolutely an integral part of the trip. And what's neat is the pilot is the guide, and so he's answering questions. You're looking at, many times we can see whale sharks as we fly into LA Bay, and they're very visible. We can see whales, incredible islands and bays and turquoise blue water. And so the flight there is absolutely part of the adventure, and it really kind of sets the tone for how remote into the wilderness that you're going.
Kevin, I want to test Joanne. I've been chatting with her. Joanne, you're unmuted. Can you say something? No, she's not getting through. Keep on going, Kevin. Sorry.
Okay. Anyway, so then we get on a boat, and that's what we're famous for. Is we developed the Las Animas Wilderness Retreat, which is the only boat-in lodge on the Sea of Cortez in Baja, Mexico. So we go an hour by boat out into the wilderness and come around the corner, and that's actually a view of morning sunrise because we face southeast, and it is just one of the prettiest spots. I actually found the area flying. We used to fly over the area when we were going on some surf trips, and every time I flew over this section of the Sea of Cortez, I said, man, that is the prettiest part of the whole Sea of Cortez. And we ended up developing the Las Animas Wilderness Retreat. So we're going to do a little poll here, and Tim, why don't you show them how to do that?
Actually, we're not going to do the poll. It's not active right now. I apologize, folks.
Okay.
But we can do it.
Just making sure you guys are paying attention. So this once you get out to Las Animas, the first day is a travel day, and then we get out in the afternoon typically, and we go snorkeling and prepare people for the next day, snorkeling with whale sharks. Right all around Las Animas are just incredible reefs, a lot of soft sponges, sea anemones, gorgonia, which is a soft coral. It's incredible marine fish, and we have a very interesting mix in that we have tropical fish and we have colder water fish. But the water, August through October, is around 80 degrees. So as you can see, the woman there, she's just loving it, and no need for a wetsuit. And we fly into one of the most remote areas in the Baja Peninsula, and you know, there was a press.
Okay, Joanne, just a second. Joanne, I hear you now.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, no worries. I'm gonna unmute you and bring you back in a sec. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. Well, we're slowly getting on track here. Anyways, we've never had any problems whatsoever because we fly 500 miles south of the border on a private aircraft, and then we go an hour by boat. We are just pretty much as far off the beaten path as one can get. Actually, I feel safer out at Las Animas than I do in my own gated community in San Diego. So absolutely safe. The Sea of Cortez, and particularly the Mid-Drift Island region, we are right on what they call the Canal de Ballenas, which literally means whale canal, and it is recognized as having the highest concentration of marine mammals and water birds in the entire Sea of Cortez. And it's a 10-mile across channel. It's 4,000 feet deep. It's one of the main reasons the whale sharks come into this area is because just to the north of us, it goes from 4,000 feet up to about 250 feet. So you get this amazing tidal upwelling. Cold, nutrient-rich water from 4,000 feet comes up to the surface, and you have an explosion of plankton bloom. And then this is actually the area we're looking at, one of the areas where the whale sharks congregate. Kind of if you were to go towards where the bottom of the screen, there's a bay back there, and the water naturally swirls and collects, and it just concentrates the plankton so much that the whale sharks over the millennia have learned that this is one of the most consistent spots for feeding that they can go. Of course, with all the abundance of wildlife, we do have big concentrations of other marine mammals, cetaceans in particular. We have resident populations. They're non-migratory. We have fin whales. We have sperm whales. This is actually a humpback whale, which is a migratory species, but we get those too. So we really have an abundance of whales. Amazing amount of dolphins too. Literally, we see dolphins, and it looks like winds coming at you all across the whole horizon, and then you realize it's dolphin, and then they just come into the area, and as far as you can see, it's dolphins. It's absolutely amazing to see that amount of wildlife, that many numbers of animals. And then we are Sonoran desert terrain, topography. This is a cardone cactus, and although these aren't very tall, they are the tallest species of cactus, and some of them live up to 250 to 300 years old. And so your pilot guides are really great, and they lead some great excursions, and we've got a amazing variety of desert and Sonoran wildlife. But the main show, of course, is the whale sharks, and we go out every morning. And in the last couple of years, it just keeps getting better. We had some times where we were snorkeling with up to 20 plus animals in the water, and they're just, the way that they feed, they're very docile, they're very slow moving. They open their mouths and they rake it in right on the surface. I mean, you couldn't think of a better animal to snorkel with. They're just ideal, and they tend to feed in circles too. So if for some reason they swim by you, or you miss them, typically they come back. And then the guides are really good with not harassing the whale sharks, but getting you into an area where they'll put you into the water where you're going to kind of be in their close to where they're swimming, and be able to see that. As I mentioned before, amazing amounts of dolphins, spinner dolphins, blue dolphins, common dolphins, and then this is just right out in front of the lodge. Whale sharks, they're found all throughout the world in temperate climates, temperate water. They're found in all oceans where it's temperate, except the Bering and Arctic. They don't go up into the extreme cold areas. They don't know a lot about whale sharks, but recently they've been doing some tracking, and some of the whale sharks that were in Baja ended up over in the Philippines. So they're impressive in the how far that they do wander. They eat plankton right on the surface. As I said before, it's the concentration of plankton in these particular bays. Earlier in the season, we've seen them right feeding in our bay, literally gotten in the water right at our beach and swam out with the whale sharks. A little later in the season, they concentrate in a couple of different bays that are just a short boat ride from us. And the best time of the year, as I said before, is August through October. And sorry about that. Forgot to turn off my phone. Sorry about that. Anyways, we tend to snorkel in groups of about 5 to 6 per boat or so, and you know, you get as much time in the water as you want, and as you can see, very, very docile. And sometimes they come right up to the boat, and they swim under the boat, and they swim right next to the boat. I think that video you just showed, Tim, was yesterday was a video of them swimming right next to the boat. So
yeah, and that was Joanne did that video, and she'll get a chance to talk about that later. But you coined it so well, Joanne, by saying whale sharks on parade, which was really neat just to see them circling round and round, and that was pretty neat.
You know, one thing that's neat, you go to the next slide, is that everything is based at our Las Animas Ecolodge, and as I said before, this is the only boat-in lodge on the Sea of Cortez, and so this is much more than a whale shark snorkeling trip. Of course, the main reason our guests book a whale shark trip is to go snorkel with the whale sharks, but then after visiting, you know, we hear so often, gosh, I didn't realize, you know, the diversity and all the different things, because we're going to go, the guides are really great. They lead some great excursions into some mangrove wetland areas. The fishing is amazing, and of course we reap the benefits. We eat a lot of fresh seafood. I mean, an hour old. We do a lot of sashimi. We get clams. We get oysters. But if you're not a big fish eater, we can certainly accommodate special dietary requests. But the Los Animas Wilderness Retreat, mornings are with the whale sharks. Afternoons are your choice of all the other activities, whether you want to go paddle a kayak, stand-up paddleboard. We even have a little trimaran sailboat. We have several super pangas you can see in the background, our boats with captains. They're very knowledgeable, and they're available throughout the day. It's all of your meals. It's all of your drinks, including alcohol, and our guides make a mean margarita. So it's really a multi-activity, and we've always left it up to our guests to be as active or as relaxed as they want. So, and as you can see, we were just voted the #1 specialty lodge in Baja, California, northern Baja, California. So we're very excited about that, and our guests made that happen, and really very nice. You get individual yurts, comfortable private bathrooms, little on the rustic side. When I say that, we have solar showers, and we have dry compost toilets. They work fantastic. We like to leave a zero footprint. The yurts are spacious, about 500 square feet, 12 to 14 foot high dome ceilings, California King pillow top memory foam mattresses. So it's kind of, I modeled the whole thing off of kind of a high-end African safari base camp. So you've got the rustic part of it, but you've also got the luxury. You know, salt or no salt on your margarita. We have a common area. That's where all the meals are served. A happy hour. It's really, and because we limit the group size to just 16 guests, and with 16 guests there'd be 3 pilot guides. So we have a 1-to-5 guide to guest ratio. So it's really very comfortable, very nice, and very much like you're on someone's private trip.
So I'm going to unmute Joanne here, and we've got a screen up that shows your group. Joanne, Joanne and Tony, are you there?
We are here.
Yay!
And we are living our one adventure yet again by looking at all those wonderful slides. Tony?
Oh, good.
Yes, hi everyone. This is Tony on this end, and experienced that total adventure that Kevin was just describing.
Great. Well, I'm going to turn it back over to Kevin. He's got some he wants to just chat with you and have some questions and get you guys to share some of your experiences.
Yeah. Hi Joanne. Hi Tony. Just you could do this too, Tim. It's just wanted so everyone else knows who you are and where you're from and what you do, so they get an idea of who we're talking to.
And please speak up. Your audio is a little low.
Okay. Is this going to be okay for you?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I come from a career with the San Diego Convention and Visitors Bureau of 28 years. I served as the Director of Communications there, and we're both located here in San Diego, of course, and we are now active as travel journalists on a freelance basis, but we contribute most readily to our 10best.com site, which is found under the USA Today travel affiliation. So our wonderful experiences get out there internationally. We also print our articles in various publications, including the San Diego Union Tribune, which we're hoping to do soon regarding this trip, because it is a perfect match for San Diegans wanting, or Southern Californians wanting a wonderful bucket list adventure really close in.
Great, great. Hey, so when you see all these wonderful pictures, and I know you have some incredible pictures and videos, what's one of the most memorable moments for you on the whale shark trip?
I'm going to let Tony answer that first.
Okay.
Most memorable would be the plunge into those beautiful waters of Bahia de Los Angeles and swimming with the whale sharks. I've never done that, and I can't believe how beautiful that was to experience these docile animals underwater, and they were so gentle and sweet, actually, and just it's unimaginable that a human being like me could be right there next to them and observing them, and there was no conflict whatsoever.
Yeah, a lot of people comment they think they can't do it or they're intimidated, and then they see how gentle they are and how completely doable it is for anyone, even if you don't swim. Put on a life preserver, they're right on the surface. So I agree with that.
Oh yeah, it's quite true that you don't have to fear them at all. Just watch out for their tail. That's all.
And as for me, there are two things. Number one, I am not a happy flyer, whether it's a commercial jet or anything else. And I overcame my trepidation and went into the Piper plane. And at first I was a little frightened, but then when I started to see the absolutely magical scenery beneath me, it was almost a spiritual experience, being able to see the mountains of Baja California, the wonderful coastline, all beneath me at a relatively low altitude, and that was something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. Half the fun was getting there, number one, and my
Cool.
I think prove it, because I was so excited, just snapping those photos. When do you ever get an opportunity to do that as a photographer? And then the remote, profound beauty of living for a week on a secluded shore with all the luxuries of a hotel, really, because I did not feel deprived one bit in those wonderful yurts. But waking up to a sunset or a sunrise that was absolutely incredible, not hearing any city noise or traffic, it was just phenomenal, really.
Yeah, I it's hard to find. We have people that travel all over the world, and they say that Las Animas is one of the most remote feeling spots they've ever been to. So, not to see a single light anywhere on the horizon.
But even as remote as it feels and is, actually you're just a few minutes or maybe an hour at the most away from any civilization, like Bahia de Los Angeles that's right around the corner from you, and you can get any help you need if you needed it.
Yeah,
but,
that's a great point.
And the guys that serviced us with the Ponga boats were right there, great mariners. I, being a mariner myself, I had very big confidence in them in taking us around. They knew their boats quite well. They knew the spots where to take us and guided us right to the whale sharks and knew how to maneuver around them so as not to irritate the whale sharks.
Then I also had our pilots, who then became our guides, our nature guides, were absolutely phenomenal. What incredible persons and knowledgeable, and it was a true delight to explore the nature, the fauna, the wildlife with our guides. It was super.
Oh, that's so great. So I guess I already know the answer to this, but would you recommend this trip and Baja Adventures to other, people, nature, ecotourism, soft adventure seekers?
We have been talking about this to our various groups for ever since we got back from the magical trip.
We're dropping out.
And are you kidding? This is one of our most incredibly memorable trips ever. So I can't wait to get my stories out there for you, because I can't think of a.
It needs to be told to the rest of the world for sure.
Oh yeah.
I know we're a small company. We have been doing this for 26 years, and we have a great following, and of course that everybody that goes on this trip becomes our friends and advocates. But yeah, most people say, I never heard of you. Tim, why don't you scroll through some of the beautiful pictures that are right after this next slide, so while they're talking they can see some of the stuff.
No problem. Actually, I have a question to throw in there, because you guys are such seasoned world travelers. You have a lot of perspective. You've both been to the Galapagos, is that correct?
Yes.
So
just last year, a few months before we took the trip, your Baja Adventures trip.
And I believe you had made a comment that you saw some similarities between the Galapagos and the Midriff Island region. Can you comment on that a little bit?
Yes. Number one, topographically, it was very similar. It was rather interesting to see that the mountains, the lava rock, the harbors, they all were very reminiscent of the Galapagos. We saw, ironically enough, if you know, the blue-footed booby is sort of an icon of the Galapagos. And while we saw them in the Galapagos, we never saw a yellow-footed booby, which is a bird, in case our listeners don't know. And I actually got a photo of both the blue and yellow-footed boobies on a rock during our excursion, which is like unprecedented. The snorkeling with the sea lions was every bit as exciting as in the Galapagos. I was surprised to see the colorful red Sally Lightfoot crab, which, of course, exists, and it's a big draw in the Galapagos too. And while you don't have the giant tortoises, there's so much that's similar, and I can understand why it's called the Galapagos of North America, because it definitely is very reminiscent and every bit as exciting.
Yeah, I would have to add to that comment that even the terrain looks very similar to the Galapagos. It's sort of barren. There's some scrub brush on there, just like there is in the area that we visited there at Las Animas. And the things we saw, such as the Sally Lightfoot and the blue-footed boobies, really surprised and delighted us to remind us of our trip down there. But hey, it only takes a couple hours, and you're right there into such a great area that is just unlike anything you would have seen 2 hours previous to your trip down there.
Yeah, that's what's so unique. I've always been amazed how far removed and different just a short couple-hour flight puts you from San Diego. It's a whole nother world down there.
And our fellow passengers, they came from all walks of life, but most of them were busy people, and they all said, isn't this wonderful? Instead of spending days on airplanes getting to a place such as this, in 2 hours they are at their destination sipping their margaritas. phenomenal. And no airport hassle.
Yeah, that it's like a private corporate aircraft, you know. When you fly back into San Diego, there's no border wait. I mean, we clear customs in about 5 minutes. It's deluxe. We have our own private border patrol, you know, to clear us through customs.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting thirsty for margaritas and want to go down there right now. Just hearing you guys talk about it.
Oh, it was magical, really. I run out of words to describe it. It was truly a bucket list adventure that we certainly recommend to anyone who has the spirit to see the beauty of nature in this world in really relative luxury, really. I don't know if I would have wanted to camp out, but that bed felt so good at the end of the day after all those wonderful experiences. And I also have to mention the food was absolutely delicious. The staff was so wonderful. I mean, we just can go on and on about the pleasures we experienced during that week.
And our guides,
so much.
Fred and Andy mixed some really great margaritas right at the end of the day that we all enjoyed and discussed our adventure for that day and made a very wonderful end of the day kind of an activity. So I'm almost ready to go down and mix my own margarita right now.
Indeed. Well, I know that you guys have got company coming, and we really, really appreciate you taking time from your busy schedule to join in and share some of your memorable moments and thoughts. And we really appreciate a lot. And it certainly reminds us that the business that we're really in is the quality of life business, and it's just touches me deeply, warms my heart to hear your stories and the many that I've heard, and it reminds me why it's important for us to do what we do.
And we wish you all the success in the world. And actually, we're meeting with German travel guide writers tonight. You better believe we're going to tell them all about this, because I know you get quite a few people from Europe who sign into this adventure, because it's unique and fabulously prized in Europe and around the world, I should think.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Joanne and Tony. I really appreciate your time, and it just brings home why I do what I do. I've got a big smile on my face. So thanks again. Thank you so much.
And I just want to say one thing. My photos are up on the website. It's San Diego scenicphotos.org. If anybody wants to see some of the many photos we collected, log in on that site and take a look, because just reviewing it today, I thought, wow.
Joanne, what was that? I'm gonna send that to the entire audience. It's San Diego what?
San Diego scenicphotos.org.
I didn't get the middle word. San Diego what? Photos? Scenic. Photos.
Yes,
Got
.org. Yes. I'll send you the link too.
I'm sending it to the entire group right now too. But
yes.
Look at them after the webinar, folks. All right. Well, thank you so much again. I'm gonna unmute you again, and I'm really glad we got the technology thing figured out. Thanks for your perseverance.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Kevin, back to you. Thank you. That was great. Wonderful people, and it's really neat to hear from different perspectives, but I really respect their opinion because they're so well traveled.
Yeah, they're travel writers. They travel the world. That's all they do.
And photojournalists and videos, and so yeah, it's their opinions.
Yeah, that's one thing I hear over and over and over again. We get a lot of people that are well traveled and have been to Africa and to Baffin Islands with the polar bears and trekking and Antarctica, and they still say it's just one of the best trips and one of the cleanest spots they've been to, and one of the most remote feeling. But as Tony pointed out, you know, we're really only a 45-minute boat ride at speed back to Bahia de Los Angeles, where there's a little town and a clinic and doctor. You know, we're just a couple hours south of San Diego by private aircraft. So it's kind of a forgotten part of the world, and we hope it stays that way. That's why we only take you know, a select few into the area. We want to keep it pristine and not overtax the natural resources down there. So if you want to go to the next slide there, Tim, after the one that was up. Well, this is just some more shots, of course, you know, evenings. I'm just going to let the pictures speak for themselves. You know, we love to have campfires at night, and the stars, we're about 300 miles away from any major population center, and the stars are absolutely amazing. So as we said before, mornings are with the whale sharks, afternoons are your choice of all the different activities. So you can just... And now, you know, we're right on the Canal de Venas. That's a fin whale, and we get them right off the lodge. There are many times where I'm laying in bed at night, or you're having breakfast in the morning, or you're having a beverage in the afternoon, and suddenly you hear the and it just sounds like it's right there, especially when you get those evenings that are so calm and quiet. As a matter of fact, one time it was one of those perfect evenings, not a ripple of air, sheet glass, and we could hear the fin whales, and they make this kind of melodic music. They exhale and then they inhale. They exhale, but when they inhale, it sounds like a didgeridoo. It's like, and it echoes in the hills, and it's absolutely enthralling. And we saw some fin whales feeding right off the lodge, just like this picture of the one there. And we got on our kayaks. There's about 5 of us, and we paddled out there, hoping to get close to the fin whales. They're the second largest mammal on the planet. They're up to 80 feet long and 100 tons. And very impressive when seen from a distance, but up close, just absolutely amazing. So we paddled out there, and they feed in a pattern, and I've gotten pretty good over the years of getting us pretty close, kind of putting us in the way of their track. And this one particular evening, we're kind of spread out. I'm about 30 feet in front of the group, and I say, oh, let's stop here. I think, you know, they're going to come up close to us. And then the water started kind of bowing around me and prisming, and all of a sudden the whale is right underneath my boat, and he is surfacing and literally lifts my kayak up out of the water. I'm going, oh my God, and all the guests are going, oh my God. And I slide off the back of this fin whale, and his tail comes out of the water, and there's water cascading off his tail. And he goes back into the water, and it's perfectly calm again, not a sound. And we just all look at each other. And it's those type of things that Las Animas, I mean, you never know what you're going to get down there. You can come across, you know, giant manta rays. The snorkeling's amazing. The fishing, the marine life. So it is truly an experience that you go on. And as Joanne said, you know, you're out there in the wilderness, but man, you aren't roughing it. Those beds are more comfortable than the bed I have at home, and it's just really neat to have that combination of pristine, untouched wilderness, and then great meals, great staff, just everything. It really, I might be a little biased, but it's really a perfect trip. So anyways, I just wanted to share that little, that reminded me of what happened. So anyways, on the last day, we have a activity in the morning and lunch, and of course the boat rides to and from LA Bay, Bahia, where we land the aircraft. And then when you're out on the boat, this trip you're on the water a lot. You're in the water if you want to be. It's definitely an aquatic trip. And then we have the flight back to San Diego, which here again is just an amazing aerial sightseeing tour of the Baja Peninsula. And you're right there with the pilot, and he answers questions. It's the coolest way to travel. We land at Brownfield, clear customs literally in about 5 minutes. There's no border wait at all. And then you're back in San Diego, and most people wish they were still down there when we get back. So anyways, that's an overview. So into the nitty gritty here of some deals that we have. What we're offering for those who want to take advantage of it. A couple of our yurts are even nicer than the other yurts. They've got R41 insulation. They're actually a permanent structure. Beautiful wood ceiling, wood floors, flush toilet, solar shower. They're just a little nicer. The beds are the same though. All the beds are the same. They're very comfortable. And typically that's $395 with tax, so it comes out to around $465. And then we're also going to discount $300 per person. And a really neat thing that we're going to do is that we offer an alumni discount, which is when people book a trip, they've been on a trip and they come back. And we also offer an alumni referral. Typically it's 5%. What we're doing here, if you sign up for a trip, we're going to treat you like an alumni and give you 10% a discount for every person that you refer who comes on a trip with us in 2015. And there's no limit. You could refer, if you were to refer 6 people, you would save 60% off of your trip, and we would rebate that money right back to you. And then if you want to use that as a trip credit for a future trip, because we do whale watching, we do all kinds of trips. We'll even make that 15% for every person that you refer to us. So you can take the money right off your trip at 10% for every person that you refer, or you can get a trip credit for a future trip, which is 15%. So it really adds up. It's thousands and thousands of dollars.
Well, I want to just throw in one point here real quick about something so that people understand that we can't just give away the store all day. Is that two things? Is that we want you guys to come down. We want you to join us, but we're not making this available to everybody. This is just available. We're only limiting it to 3 new bookings, and since so many of our bookings are couples, friends. We have a grandfather-grandson trip going next week, so we're limiting it to 3 new bookings or a total of 6 for the $300 discount. The alumni rebate and or trip credit, that's new. We don't usually allow double dipping, but that essentially is double dipping, and we decided, really, what's the best form of advertising? It's word of mouth. And we thought, since you guys are going to be signing up for this, why not empower you to get your best friends, families, associates, either joining you on the trip or another trip. As Kevin mentioned, Las Animas is a year-round destination. We have people go there year-round and just hang out and have a great time and do everything. So I just wanted to reemphasize that we're only going to make this available for the first 6 bookings, and we're going to limit the period of time because we can't do this all day long. So there was I just want to thank you for letting me interject that, Kevin. You had some samples that you wanted to show what this could mean to people.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get $300 off and the deluxe shirt upgrade, and then if you have 2 couples that you refer, that'd be 40% trip rebate. That's $13.56 plus the other discount you have. You can see it really adds up if you have some friends that you think might want to join you on your trip, or maybe if they can't go on your trip, they go on a different trip. It doesn't matter. We'll still give you that credit. Or you can be the best of friend and give them the discount. It's all up to you. Take the discount, give the discount to your friends, whatever. So that's and if you have any questions or you can certainly call us right after the webinar, and I'll be happy to explain to you. But there's some really this is our best savings that is going to be offered for the entire year on these trips.
It really is. It is the best. And doing the alumni referral discount in advance, we've never done that. But we know the more people that go down there and have the experience, the more people that we have, like Joanne and Tony.
Like Joanne, that calls and just loves it and is such an advocate for us. And everybody that goes down really likes this trip. So
and we have lots. If you go to TripAdvisor to Las Animas Wilderness Lodge, I think it's listed, you will see many comments from travelers just like you guys that are on this call from all over the world and what they've shared. And I think that one of the neat things about the people that have been on the whale shark trip is they say, wow, I went down for the whale shark, but they realized after experiencing it, it was like this extra bonus, that there was so much more to see, do, and experience, that the whale shark was this extra bonus. And that's kind of a common theme that we've seen. And so we really feel blessed that we're on the right track on that. Kevin, we've got it set up for some Q&A, and I've just messaged the group. I am glad to either you could type in a question or raise your hand, or I can unmute you, and you can ask your question yourself. So this is a great time. Any question? We've had some questions come in, and I can actually mention what they are, and that I've responded to. Someone says, Ann Schwartz said, thank you. Phone is about to run out of battery. We are definitely doing this trip next year. We had a question about the aircraft, and
Looks like you answered that already.
Yeah, I did. Is there any other questions, folks, that you want to have? This is, a great time. We love Baja. There's nothing we like more than to chat about Baja. We've got some dates to show you guys here. One thing that's not on the slide, Kevin, I noticed is the price. The price for the whale sharks is not listed. Let me go to the dates slide, and we should tell people what's included and what's the normal price, and
it's totally all inclusive. It is everything, as we said. It's your private round trip air carriage. It's your boat transfers to the lodge. It's all of your accommodations. It's all of your meals and great snacks too, and happy hour. It's all of your drinks, including alcoholic beverages. We can also accommodate special dietary requests. It is all your whale shark excursions. It is all of your other activities in the afternoon, as we mentioned, from stand-up paddle boards. And another thing too, the guides are great. If you've never done it before, hey, that's that's what they're there for. They'll teach you a new skill. They'll allow you to do, show you how to do stuff you might not have ever thought of doing. So they're really good. And a 1-to-5 guide to guest ratio. Trimaran sailboats, the fishing boats, the fishing, the excursions. It is really everything. And the price is $25.95. Then there's Mexican tax, and there's a park fee. So it comes out to around $3,000. But with the discounts and everything, the discounts are worth more than $300 because you have tax on that. So it's actually closer to $340 per person. And then any of the referrals. So this trip with just another couple of friends joining you would be down around $2,000 or so, about $1,000 off. So that is what it includes. Basically everything. The only thing it doesn't include is your Mexican tourist visas, $30, and gratuities for the guides and the staff. Other than that, everything else is really covered. So it's truly all inclusive.
I see we have a hand raised from Suzanne. I'm going to unmute you, Suzanne, and so you can ask your question. Suzanne, can you hear us? You'll have to make sure that your audio's...
I can hear barely in the background.
Suzanne, you're going to have to speak up. Nope. I see a hand raised.
Now can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can. Yay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Suzanne.
I have two questions. The first one is that you mentioned something about a grandparent, grandfather, grandson trip. Is that something you organized or somebody else organized? And what age would you think is appropriate?
That was a trip. This is actually his second trip. He went down before, and he loved it, and now he's bringing his grandson. And we've had people. I've had grandparents bring their 5- and 7-year-olds with them, as long as they're old enough to listen to instructions, and that's fine. It's a very easy activity. There's nothing that's strenuous, and we've left it up to, and we're very family friendly. We get a lot of families with young children, so I would say 4 or 5, as long as they're in kindergarten and can listen to instructions, I would say that's fine. I've had parents bring younger than that, But as a grandparent, we've seen grandparents bring their grandchildren, as young as 5.
I want to add,
Okay.
Suzanne, I want to add a little quick story to that just real quick, because this was, I thought, the coolest part of this, and I wrote about this in the newsletter not that long ago. This grandfather and grandson that are traveling next week, the grandfather originally took his whole family, had his whole family reunion. They took over the whole lodge. By the way, you guys can do that. If you have just 10 guests, you can take over Los Animas privately. All to yourself, not during whale shark season, because that and our whale watching is our most popular. But they did. This is what was really cool. His grandfather took the whole family. They took over the whole place. They had a great family reunion. And so when the grandfather asked his 18-year-old grandson, who was graduating from high school, "I will take you anywhere in the world as your present. Where would you like to go?" He said, "Grandfather, I'd like to go back to Las Animas." And then and isn't that cool? And they're going next week. So I thought, and our grandparents did that for us, Warren boys, kids too. And I'll never forget it. I think it helped influence our lives and what we do now.
Thank you.
So what was your other question, Suzanne?
If you come as a single person, do you sometimes help find roommates? Do some of your yurts have twin beds?
Absolutely.
How do you accommodate singles?
We have yurts that have twin beds, and we have some yurts that have king and queen beds, separate beds. And then absolutely, we'll put it out there. And more times than not, I'm able to put somebody up with someone else. But if we don't, if we're not completely full, then you get your own yurt. But if we're full, then there is a single supplement.
Okay, I think those are my 2 questions. And by the way, when I unsigned up and signed in again, I got to see all the slides.
Yay!
Yeah.
Good job. Now you are a webinar master now too. or like us in training. We're better at running tours than getting this thing going. But it all worked out. So
yes.
Did you have fun? Did you like it? Did you enjoy what you saw?
Absolutely. I've been following Baja Adventures for a couple of years, and so I think that it's certainly made me want to sign up sooner than later.
Good.
Well, this is definitely the best deal that you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly.
This is it right here. So anyway, we hope that you'll join us. And by the way, let me put the next slide in, because it shows our contact number, and to both the toll-free and the local number to reach us, folks. Let me see if there's any other questions there. I wanted to check to see if anybody else has got their hands raised.
So to go ahead and make a reservation, you just call one of those 2 numbers, the 800-221-9283, or the 619-421-2235, and you'll speak directly to me, and I'll be happy to take your reservation and go over what we have available. And we take all major credit cards, and we can do it with a deposit, and so you can get your foot in the door and get these great discounts that we're offering. Now
right.
you just switched the screen, Tim, to a beautiful.
I see that.
We don't have flowers like that down there.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, folks.
So anyways, thank you so much for joining us on the webinar. Was there any other questions that you saw there, Tim?
I'm just taking a look here real quick. I've been chatting here with some people. No, let me see here. We've had everybody stick around, which is great.
Look at that. It's 6 o'clock. We're right on schedule here. We were going to do an hour webinar, so that's perfect.
That's great. No, I think we're good. I really, really appreciate everybody's time. Truly give Kevin a call, whether it's talking about whale sharks or also we do our Best of Baja in February, March, which is truly our most popular trip. We sell out every year, and I'm not kidding. We usually have to add trips if we can. But that's the petting the friendly gray whales. That you've seen pictures of, where they come up to the boat and there's babies and mothers, and that trip, you get the Pacific coast of Baja and the gray whales for a couple days and a couple nights, and then we fly across the peninsula in just about 35 minutes over to Las Animas, and then we hang out there for another 3 nights and do all the activities there, and then back up to San Diego. So it's truly the best of Baja and truly an epic trip. But give Kevin a call, and if he's not answering the phone, you'll probably get me. So we're in California. I'm in Northern California. Kevin's in Southern California, and we would love to help you guys have the trip of a lifetime.
So thank you so much for joining us, and you guys have a great evening, and hopefully I'll be talking to you soon.
Thanks, Kevin. Good job. All right, take care. Bye-bye all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.